We just came off of a 2-week-long production schedule on the next 12 episodes of The Danger Element. We shot every day pretty much solid for 2 whole weeks. One of the things that is hard to anticipate on a production schedule that is that big is organization. It's easy to think that you're just going to go in there with your script and you're just going to shoot from the hip and you're going to get everything that you need. But just to put it in perspective, The Danger Element altogether has about 100 scenes in it. Every single one of those scenes has lots of details that are very important. And if they're not filmed, they don't go in the movie, and sometimes the story depends on those details. There's absolutely no way that any one man can remember all those details, so I needed help. This is Sonia Betancourt.
Hello. I think the first thing we did was go through the whole script and break it down into scenes so that we can speak to those scenes. So instead of saying, oh, this particular section where this is happening, we can just say like scene 62. And then also going through and making sure that we marked each scene that was still needed to be filmed. That way we wouldn't miss anything. And then from there, we created like a scene breakdown sheet that just had the scene, the type of location we're looking for if we didn't have the location already, and then the cast, and then all the props that are needed for those scenes, as well as all the equipment, you know, like a fog machine or like a leaf blower or that sort of thing. So yeah, we just kind of went through scene by scene and
Sonia just asked me lots of questions, and I didn't always have the answers, but like for instance, props. I didn't always know exactly what props we needed or even like what equipment we were going to need on a certain day. So we would just create like a baseline where I would just say, we might need this, we might need this, we might need this. And then it was like on the day of filming, we would go down the list. I mean, it sounds really organized, but actually it was more chaotic than this. But like on the day, we would just talk about, do we need this, do we need this, do we need this? And I would just say yes or no. And that was kind of how that works.
From there, we just took that information and we tried to do all the scenes at a specific location, you know, at one time. Or if there's a particular cast member that was only with us for a day or two, we'd want to shoot all of their stuff at the same time. So we just kind of categorized it that way and created a schedule. And then once we had that schedule, we verified locations and made sure people could make it on those dates, and then, you know, did some shifting around, and then we had our final schedule. We
had a schedule where it said like day by day what was supposed to happen, but it obviously had to be flexible because if anything happened, you'd have to change the schedule. Say like one day during production we missed a scene because I had shifted somebody else's scene for the morning because they needed to leave in the afternoon, and then when we got around to shooting the other scene, the light had changed so much that we couldn't shoot it, so we had to shoot it the next morning. And we had to leave like a few days open. And basically, you have to be open to changing it to a certain degree. But if you don't plan it at all, you will just forget to shoot things.
From there, I created my version of a call sheet for the production with just basic information on location and contact and timing, and then all the scenes we were doing, all the cast members, all the props, any other information like random wardrobe stuff that isn't like the normal wardrobe for that character, as well as just an idea of like how we're getting our meals and how many cars that we have, so we know how much room we have to take all our props. And then on that I also included the script for those particular scenes that we were filming.
Everybody had the script for that day when they got our version of the call sheet.
Correct. So certain places require, you know, like liability forms, so you had to have everybody sign it. There's actor release forms, so how to get those signed as well. One thing was just kind of after our first night at the sugar mill, I made sure to send out an email to everybody reminding them to like wear a bunch of layers because it was really cold. Because
of the new camera that we're using on these episodes, which is the Canon T3i, you can't monitor audio. There's no like headphone jack. So we recorded all the audio and like all the dialogue on the HG10s, which is just a different camera, where we could monitor the audio. But that introduced the problem of actually syncing up the audio later, which it's not a big deal if you're dealing with a little bit of footage, but if you're dealing with, like, I think the last 2 week shoot that we just did came in at 212 gigs of footage. Like, hundreds of takes and hundreds of shots, hundreds of files that needed to be synced up with their corresponding audio files. Yeah. And the way that we would do it is we would show on the slate, like, what shot it was, what take it was, like, what scene it was, and so the camera could see it, and somebody would read it out loud so that the sound camera could hear it, and then somebody would clap, so you would hear that, you'd be able to sync it up. Somebody clap in front of this camera, and the audio camera would hear it, and you'd be able to sync that up. Theoretically, it's supposed to make it easier to sync up the audio.
Theoretically.
It's still, somebody's got to sit there and do it. So
this is just kind of me keeping track of what we were shooting. So scene 66, shot 9, and then these are the takes. So in this case, the first 3 takes were flubs, so I just marked them off so they knew they didn't have to review it. Like in this case, shot 9 was a really good version of it, so I circled that so that John knew to try that one first and knew that it was a good take.
I thought this was cool because I didn't actually ask her to do this. It's just, I would, at the end of the day, I would get one of these pieces of paper with all the stuff on it, and it's actually useful.
The point of this was so that you can focus on that and let us handle all the little details, so that you can focus on your vision and the final film.
Anybody who's close to me, I guess, knows that I'm easily overwhelmed by lots of information, to the point of, like, shutdown. Like, I have a breakdown. I can handle it on a small level because usually I only have to think about one scene. Okay, we're going to shoot one scene this month, so I'll plan that one scene. I'll get everybody together. But we shot 50 scenes in 2 weeks, and you didn't have any time in between. It was like you just went from shoot to shoot to shoot, and you didn't have time to sit down and think, like, okay, so what am I shooting? Like, it all had to be planned. I can't organize things. So it's like Justin knows where everything is stored. And he usually organized how we transported it for the most part. I think that Josh and Sonia helped figure some of that stuff out. I was, like, oblivious. Like, I tried to help load things as best I could, but I always feel like I'm in the way, and I don't quite know what to do. I really just hope that everybody that helped me with that stuff, you, for the most part, doing all of the planning and organization and everything that you did, and that's another thing that you did was organize and book transportation, airplanes, right. All that, hotels, and just people helping to figure things out, like figure out how are we going to transport this here, how are we going to pick up that person, how are we going to fit this in the trunk, anything like that. Yeah. I appreciate to such a high degree, even if I failed to express it, because I couldn't do it myself. So thanks. Hey guys, tomorrow is Christmas Eve, so don't forget to check out today's Christmas video, Future Christmas, which is a sequel to A Merciful Christmas. And also, click on this link to go to the playlist for all of this week's Christmas videos, because we've been releasing one every day this week up until Christmas Eve, which is tomorrow. So Merry Christmas, and thanks for subscribing.